take a moment to come home. Find your center. Each moment you have to find your center. Each moment you have to recenter. And it would seem that there's two choices. Either one is centered or not centered. One is in tune or out of tune. There is no in between. There is an in between, but I mean, being in tune is in tune. When the instrument is in tune, it's in tune. If it's not in tune, then it's not in tune. It's not a judgment. It's a fact. And so, better to be centered than not centered. Better to be in tune than out of tune. This in-tuneness this is we must cultivate this. It doesn't happen automatically by itself. And so that's why we recommend, in a very simple way, to tune yourself, tune your instrument, tune your body, heart, and mind every day. If you're going to play every day, maybe some days you don't play anything, you don't do anything at all, then maybe you don't need to tune your instrument. But it would seem that every day we're making such a mess and doing so many things and really questioning ourselves all the time, continually. So this means we're out of tune. When we're in tune, then there's not so much thinking because it's natural. Like a sports player in the game, not overthinking. You've done the training, you know, and then you're just in the flow. You don't need to constantly be thinking, planning, analyzing, judging, like this. So this is a shift in the priority. No, our approach, really it's a whole approach, how we've been trained to use our minds and bodies, to use our willpower. But this approach, I'll focus on the future and the idea of some reward in the future. But will that reward come? No? Because if you can be present now, how will you be there to experience it then? You see, it's a trick. It's very subtle. But if you don't know the taste of happiness now, if you can't see that around you now, or the peace or whatever it is, then how will you be able to taste it then? How will you know it then? So the yogis focus more energy, attention here and now. For sure, whatever will come will grow from here and now. If I take care of the garden today, I can harvest the fruits in a few months or a few years. Right? But the thinking is empty. Thinking is empty. So we need minimal thinking. Thinking is useful. It's wonderful. Wonderful tool. The humans were so great and we can build lots of things and everything. But we need to reduce by at least 50%. And put the energy into this aliveness. This is the key, aliveness. Nowadays we don't understand, big misunderstanding of what it means to be healthy. Right? Healthy means not sick. This is false. No, also, we have a big trick they call mental health. But really, we're never talking about mental health. We don't know what health is. We're just talking about mental illness. Right? We have a model of illness, but we have no model of health. We don't know what it is to be healthy. Right? We know, get rid of the disease. No disease? Okay, that must be healthy. But it's not true. This is surviving. Healthy means thriving. To be thriving, to be deeply alive. And so, what does that mean? We're just trying to, the mental health, this is just talking about anxiety, depression, all these things. This isn't health, this is the illness. So we're always focused on illness, but we need something to move towards. We need to understand what it is to be healthy. Then the illness is not a thing. The illness is a sign that we're disconnected and out of alignment. So it's not about getting rid of the illness, it's about moving towards the health, moment to moment. To living that. That's what yoga. Yoga is a model of health. It's not illness. And so this aliveness is greatest treasure. You have the aliveness like a child, that aliveness in your heart, then you have so much. But if you don't have that aliveness, even you have millions and millions of dollars, and you can do anything, you're dead. It's empty. It's dead. It's meaningless. So, which has more value? This aliveness is very natural. It's expressing itself in every form of creation. Every moment, including your cells and bacteria, everything. This isn't yours. And in fact, this is not yours. We call mine, my breath, not mine. My body, not mine. Who does this belong to? Who are these cells? What is this dance of life? I have no idea. But this idea of me, mine, this is definitely an obstacle. Nothing is a problem in itself, only our ideas. So, be quiet and focus on that basic aliveness. That aliveness has nothing to do with the country or gender or anything in the external world. Any of the family or parent or whatever, past anything, no. That aliveness is here and now, is totally pure. That pure fire of life that is not touched by any experience or any thoughts or anything at all. So be present at that level. Present means open. Thinking, you're closed. As soon as you're thinking, you're closed off. When I think flower, then my mind is trapped because I can't see the flower. I have some concept. That concept is false. Even the flowers, what's a flower? I used to think there were flowers and there were plants and there were weeds. But flower, there's no flower. Flowering is part of the process of the aliveness of the plant. The plant is flowering, life is flowering. There's no flower. You see, our mind is completely false. So, continue your life exactly as you're doing, but just a few minutes every day. Drop everything. And be still. Be quiet. And then life will take care of itself. You don't need to figure out what to do. Life knows what to do. Life knows you put the food, it digests. You breathe the air. Everything is happening according to the infinite intelligence of life. So, if you water the garden will grow. Effortlessly, the garden will grow. So effortlessly also, you eliminate waste. It's natural. Your body knows what to do. Also, your heart and mind know how to eliminate, to release. But this is now a chronic ego tension built up over years, so it's just stuck. But you have to big release, and then just naturally let life do its thing. This is the natural way. It requires a daily practice, but it's the same, like you brush your teeth every day. That's a good thing to do. I think we all agree. Brushing your teeth every day is great, right? Twice a day, 3 times a day, whatever. Taking a shower every day, also super, super duper. Changing clothes, wearing new clothes, washing new clothes is good, for sure. But it's not enough. And it's only on the surface. It's like, that's clear, right? This is the surface. This is the show. But life is not, life comes from deep within. So water your roots and be simple. The more quiet you become, the more clear you will be. As you slow down and listen to yourself, then you can't ignore anymore. You can't ignore your true understanding or your whatever it is that you know, we've been taught to just suppress and ignore whatever our intuition, our heart's knowing, our truth, whatever that is. It started when we were infants. Now what happens is our parents, they want us to eat, but we're not hungry. And then they get angry. They get angry and exhibit negative behavior. And then when we eat, when we do what they want to, even though our own signal is, I don't want to eat. I'm not hungry. I don't feel to eat. I don't feel to sleep. But they want me to sleep. And so we learn, if I do what they want, then I get good feedback. So as the people-pleasing starts, and we start simultaneously to ignore, not trust our own internal signals. Sleepy, hunger, go to the toilet, whatever. We're forced to do in this unnatural way, and then it just compounds from there. So we need to undo that learning. And then as you become quiet, in tune with yourself, and you're listening, then you can't ignore anymore the truth within you. It's not like, what should I do? Do I have to do this? Maybe I'll do this. No, it's like, okay, you go step by step, whatever, you know, it's like, there's no rules. It's just as you feel like, I don't feel like, you know, eating that food anymore. You know, it just comes naturally, or you choose, it's not through forcing some kind of rules on how to behave. But as you clean your body, heart, and mind, you become more clean, then maybe some habits change naturally. But go the natural way. Don't, if you force too much, then it'll just snap back. So you want to go, that's why every day, 2%, 30 minutes. That's for regular people. We call householders, people that have a job, a family, that are living a career life. But there are other people who, for example, want to pursue the path of awakening, or people who want to become a teacher, yoga teacher, whatever that means. Right? And so for those people, it should be minimum 20%, 5 hours a day. Right? Like any sports player, musician, or artist, or anything, it requires a much deeper commitment. And 5 hours is nothing. You get up early. You get up at 4 or 5, boom, 3 hours right off the bat. Hour of meditation, hour of asana, half hour chanting, half hour journaling, whatever. Boom, that's 3 hours. Then another hour in the midday, hour in the evening. Easily, you can do minimum 5 hours. Better, like 8 hours. I grew up playing classical music. The classical musicians, from a young age, would practice easily 4 to 8 hours a day, depending on the instrument. Any sports player who really dedicated to their sport is practicing all the time. But yoga is the thing, you just do what you feel like every now and then. It's bizarre. It's just so bizarre. Okay, questions. We've got some good questions here. Let's see. How to do digital detox in daily life? I don't know. I can give some tips, whatever stuff I've heard. Obviously, good to put it in a different room at night. Stop a few hours before, have fixed times. Instead of times where you can't use your phone, maybe make times where you can use your phone. It's like, these are the times where I can use it. I don't know, I'm just thinking this is off the cuff. But something that someone has said is that make it gray, make the screen gray. You can go in grayscale, right? It's affecting your brain. We don't understand how it's affecting our brains. Do full day fasts, once a week or a couple days a month or something like that. It's gotta be forced. If it's like, let me just, let's see what happens, it's gonna suck you in. It's so addictive. And it's so, it's got its claws in every aspect of a society, of our life, And so I think we have to make boundaries. Make boundaries, turn off notifications, keep it on silent, you never hear it. Put it on a grayscale. And make times in the week, in the day, in the week, where you can use it. And then the other times it's like, and then have accessible other things to do that you like to do. Have the materials ready to do the creative projects you want to do. Have the books that you want to read. Have a plan of how you're going to use your time. Because it's not just what not to do. This is the thing. This is the same thing, like get rid of the illness. It's not about not using the phone. It's how do you want to use your time and energy. And without that piece, then again, it's just some more like rules. It's just another control. I should do this, I shouldn't do that. And we start wrestling with our ego. And nobody wins. Nobody wins that battle. So make it more about what you're going to do. Journaling, plan the things, schedule, have it ready. Have nice stuff. Have nice stuff to do the stuff that you love. Yeah, don't be cheap with the stuff that you love, with what you really love. One-pointed focus. What does it mean exactly? So if you're aiming a gun, you have what's it called? The sight. In the sight, there's like a bullseye. You're looking at that one point. You see there's one point. You look at that point. You focus on that one point only. This is trataka. There's a whole science of eyes, eye yoga, and focus, everything. But basically, you have one point. You can print on a page a circle with a dot in the middle. You put on the wall and you stare at the dot. 5 minutes, put your timer, 5 minutes, stare at the dot. No blinking, no thinking. You also do it with a candle, very useful. You light a candle, 1/2 meter in front at eye level, in a place where there's no wind. You stare at the tip of the candle. You gaze at it, not staring. One point of focus is not staring. It's a gazing, relaxed gaze at the tip of the candle. Again, use the timer, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. You get so much power. You're gazing at the concentration, your focus is like, when you adjust the pressure on the flame to get a really sharp flame, you need the right amount of, that's the same. When we have concentration, we can put our attention, energy into anything. Without concentration, it's just like a weak flame. We have no power. You need a super sharp concentration. So, trataka, everyday practice. Anyway, where our eyes are so tired from constantly looking at flashing lights on a screen and all these objects and people faces and everything. So gaze at the candle. It's going to also heal your brain. Relax your eyes, look at a field far away, at the sun gazing. First hour after sunrises, last hour before sun sets. Bare feet on the earth, 10 seconds a day. You can do it just to do 20, 30 seconds lightly as you feel. There are different approaches, but these ways to heal the eyes and for focus. Then you can focus at the point, focus at the flame. Eventually then you have that one-pointed inner focus inside. Okay, so eventually the one-pointed focus is inside at this third eye point. The third eye is not on the face of the forehead, it's at the center of your brain. So you turn your eyes up and back and focus at the center of your brain. Again, like a laser beam that's not moving. It's not going anywhere, just in one point. And then you breathe, you have to breathe very gently or everything starts shaking and everything. And then eventually it becomes totally locked in. That's one-pointed focus. From there, when it's totally locked in and stable, this is the gateway into meditation. Yeah, on the mind. Your breath will, almost like your breath stops. You don't even know if you're breathing. What does concentration means? To be here and now, to be in one place. Concentrum. To be at the center of your being. Usually we're everywhere but here and now. We're everywhere else. 5 minutes ago, 20 days ago, a year ago, we're in next month or wherever. We're all scattered all over the place. Our whole self, we're scattered all over in the past, in the future, and in different places. I live here, I work here, I eat here, I have fun here, I don't like here. It's a jumble, like a Humpty Dumpty. And so we need to bring all the pieces together here and now. Otherwise, we don't have our power. How can we have our power? And we have so many different roles to play, so many things to remember, so much. No, we have to bring all the pieces back here and now. All of them. This is concentration. To be here and now means 100%. If you're 99%, then you're not here, you're not present. And as soon as you're thinking, you're not here. Every thought is pulling you away from here and now. Where is here and now? Right here and now is not in this room. The present moment is not in this room. The present moment is everywhere simultaneously at once. No, there's one moment, and everywhere, everything, the micro, the macro, everything, this is the present moment, is the everythingness. It's not yours, it's not mine, this little piece, this little chunk that I'm distorting with my senses. We have no idea. We have no idea about what's going on. In our own bodies, we have no idea what's going on molecular level. None. We couldn't even fathom it, even if we studied for our whole life. We would not be able to experience what's going on in this moment. We'll have some abstract information. We know about the abstract information about this, but what's really happening, no idea. On a molecular level, also atomic level, no idea. Cellular level, no idea. No idea. Literally. So even the very foundation of this thing I call myself, I have no idea what's going on. What of the rest of this? What of my mind, my emotions, my past? What of you? What of this life? What do we know? So at least we shouldn't use our knowledge to torture ourselves. No, whatever we know or don't know, we need to clean. We need to clean our bodies, hearts, and minds. And whatever useful, you can keep. Whatever's not useful, you can throw it away. Keep with you. Whatever you want to carry with you, carry it with you. Whatever you want to worship, then worship that. You worship your pain, you worship the past, you worship all the bad things, or you worship the good things with your time, with your energy, with your thoughts and emotions. No, I don't worship anything. I have no religion. Whatever you spend your time, this is your worship. This is your religion. Religion of what? What's the greatest miracle you have ever seen? This is not about answers. Someone tried to sneak this with me yesterday. Every moment, I mean, this endless miracle. There's only one endless miracle, and it's happening. It's exploding everywhere, every second. And if you take some psychedelics, you'll see it too, for sure. I mean, it's, but I've experienced also what the humans call many, many miracles, like manifesting. People manifest things like statues or necklaces. But I was thinking yesterday, because I didn't want to answer, I don't like to talk about that. Even it's not very interesting from the point of from the what's essential. But there was one thing that my Amma Krunamai did. Two things I'll talk about. First, she came to see me in Cambodia after I hadn't seen her for 7 years, which is a long time, very, very long time. And that year I was really, in my heart, I was crying. I was missing him. I was here, but she goes to the US and I was never able to see her in India. And all of a sudden I open Facebook and I see Amma Sri Kurumani coming to Siem Reap, Cambodia, out of nowhere. She never travels to other countries, and I was like, oh my God, I'm like, that's where I am. And it took me like a month to get in contact with the ashram. I was like, let me help, let me host Amma. And so it ended up she came and she stayed at my house 2 weeks after my son was born. It was incredible. And then I went back to India with her immediately after because I just, wow, it was so powerful. And then I went back for Navaratri. Navaratri is a big festival for Divine Mother. And they do this, it's 10 days of very intense, what we call puja, like fire ceremony, chanting from the morning to the night. And she was born on the 10th day, on the 10th day of victory. So it's Amma's birthday. So I went for that. I went back to the ashram. And the people to be there, you have to sponsor these pujas, right? And the sponsorship's expensive. It's like $10,000 or something like that. And I didn't have any money, And I was like, so I was just sitting there and I wasn't allowed to go by the fire and I wasn't allowed to go. And I got really upset. We were sitting in the fire hall this first day and Amma was there. And it just inwardly, I felt so dejected. I was like, what is this for rich people? Like, Amma, wow, your son has come. And I was so sad. And there were probably, thousands of people there. And then right after that program, Amma's niece comes up to me, she hands me, she said, here, Amma, I want you to have this. This is a sponsorship patch. Unbelievable. The yogis can read our mind, the past, the present, the future, everything. And they're giving so many gifts, knowingly or unknowingly, mostly. One time also, I was in the US, it was one of the first times, 2006. And she was going to do a fire ceremony in New York, and I didn't know anybody at that time. I knew nobody, I had met her the year before. And I just got on a train, I was like, I'll figure it out. I got on a train and went for the fire, and it was powerful. It was like 4 hours, and I got cooked. I used to have so much, pulling out so much negativity, so many things. And incredible experiences, but before the fire, when she was driving to the program, she manifested kumkum from her feet. This has happened many times, this pile of the red powder, this one I have here. It's a mixture of turmeric and lime that makes it red. And then after the program, we got to collect the kumkum from the car and distribute, and it was, wow, so high. It was incredible. That's the starting to taste the bliss. So, it's endless miracles. But again, the greatest miracle is just to be present, to be real, to be peaceful. They're so rare. This is the greatest treasure. No one with real peace. People have so many objects, possessions, and reputation and name everything, but no one has peace. What kind of practice is ideal for evening time? So, in the morning you take a shower, and then you feel awake, alive, ready for the day. In the evening you take a shower, and you feel like relaxed. Right, so morning practice, evening practice. Best to have both. You do an evening practice, and you wake up, you have better sleep, you wake up better, and it just becomes like a cycle. Personally, I think morning practice is the most important, so do a bigger morning practice. In the evening, you can even do something short, like 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, you can do 2 minutes of sun salutation, one time, 2 minutes of breathing, and then 6 minutes of meditation. Boom, like that. And it's a package, and you just insert that every day, and it's going to make a difference. You see for yourself. This is why I'm suggesting the 100-day challenge. Right? 100 days, you say, okay, I'm going to do this and this. You commit to something, and you do that. That's the base, that's the minimum. You can always do more. We have more time, great, do more, do extra. That's wonderful. But you don't do less. And then do it for 100 days. Then you'll know, 100% you'll know if it's how it's affecting your life. If there's no benefit, then drop it. Who cares? Another fad. However, if you can feel more alive, more grounded, more connected, more true to yourself, right? Then that's a freaking miracle. That's the... Yeah, that's the miracle. How can I stop the critical, criticizing voice in my head? First thing is, you need a daily practice. No, like you brush your teeth, take a shower, change your clothes. Every day you clean your body, heart, and mind with the daily practice of movement, breath, and stillness. So that's the baseline for anything. And then what to do, right? So one thing that's very important is to laugh at ourselves, to laugh at yourself. Right? We become so serious and stuck in our little story, and then it becomes very heavy, and then and then that's it, and we just carry it around everywhere. And so that's why laughing at ourselves, being playful, being silly, playing games, playing sports, not in a competitive way, but just in a playful way, to be playful. And then this can help us to, we have to shift. It's a rhythm. You see, the thing is, it's a habit. We have a habit. We have a habit of speaking in a certain way. Even our tone of voice when we speak to certain people, it has an anger, tension, criticalness. Yeah? This is a habit, a certain way that we speak. Also in our mind, sometimes, like, for example, our parents spoke to us in a certain way. We speak to ourselves with that same tone of voice, something like this, in our minds. Right? This is NLP. And so we need to reprogram. We need to reprogram this habit of internal dialogue, etc., by shifting the rhythm. Shift the rhythm. So you shift the rhythm through the daily practice, and then you learn to slow down your breathing. And when you're in a certain frequency, that other one can't come in. It can't take over. Right? When you tune the radio to a channel, then the other channel can't come in. It's a different frequency. So if you change your frequency, then that just goes away on its own. But it has to be replaced with something. You need a different frequency. So that's why we have to train. Like the sports, it's like someone's like, whenever I hit the ball, it goes into the net. Right, okay, then we need to examine the technique and the habit, and we need to practice and train different habit, different technique. It's the same. If we were to apply the same kind of training discipline that we do with sports, and many people have trained in high school or in college, something in some degree, where you're practicing 3 to 5 times a week and playing games and thinking about it, and even not a semi-professional level, just very like amateur. Same with music, anything. If we apply that same process to training to be yourself, learning to be yourself, to be alive, to be present, then in a very short time you will make tremendous progress. I promise. It's because it's natural. Right? Playing the sport is a little unnatural. How to bowl, how to throw. But to be yourself, there's nothing more natural than this. Nothing. What could be more natural than being yourself? But now yoga has been hijacked by this something, I don't know, commercial thing or something. I don't know, it's crazy. Why have I back issue when I'm sitting for meditation? Come on, it's life. Every human being is most difficult. We have a vertical spine. You see the animals is very stable with a horizontal spine. Right? In terms of gravity and pressure, electromagnetic field, this is stable. I have the connection through these 4 points. And then my organs are relaxed, everything is hanging, it's loose. I can breathe, very nice. And then human being, very tricky, vertical spine on the neck, everything. So we're all like, everyone's got some kind of scoliosis to some level, right? And then the energy's not flowing. Everybody, their spine's very weak also in the modern world. No, we gotta be honest, we've been with all this sterilization and all this, everything's so clean and whatever, we've become very, very weak. And so how to breathe, how to this tension that's required to hold your body upright. And we grew up kind of slouching in the chairs, so we're just twisted. We're all twisted in a knot. So so probably, yeah, your back doesn't feel good really most of the time, right? In general, we don't feel good, right? We don't feel good. We don't feel like, wow, like vibrantly alive and buzzing and like we're floating. It's very heavy, right? Our bodies are heavy, have a headache or the digestion or anything, something's hurting, right? Emotionally heavy, mentally heavy, everything is heavy. And so this is the path for cultivating that aliveness. And it takes time, and it's like growing a garden. At first, it's going to take more time, especially if you've been neglecting your garden. But even in a very short time, right? It's only been 2.5 days, not even 3 days. I'm sure that you're already feeling a shift in your practice, in your breath, in everything. And so it's what do they call this? Exponential. But it requires the commitment. If it's important, that's the thing. If it's not important, we don't just forget about it. It doesn't matter. None of this matters. Right? But if we want to nourish our garden, if we want to tune ourselves, be in tune, be centered, be grounded, then we have to give importance to that. Then we have to dedicate some time and energy every day. And then on top of that, I strongly recommend regular steaming, sauna, cold plunge, massage, twice a week if you can do it. Best way, what you can do, what's best, everyone should do a massage training. Do like a 5 days or something. Everyone traveling around, learn something, go somewhere cool. There's a great in northern Thailand, the Oahu village, that's been around for like 15 years, the Thai massage in a village, vegan food, something like this. Go anywhere, learn massage, learn how to touch and be touched, learn about your body, learn. And then you have a partner, a friend, anything, you do massage exchange. Massage exchange is like active listening. Right? One person, how much time you have? Oh, we have got 20 minutes. Okay, 10 minutes each. Boom, first person, 10 minutes. Giving, you're also receiving so much. To give, to connect, is you get so much, not just from receiving. Then immediately you switch. Not like, I get you later, whatever. No, this is immediate, and this giving, receiving, boom, there's such a deep connection. You can do it with your partner, with anyone. 20 minutes and 20 minutes. You'd be surprised. 10 minutes of conscious touch and massage, you feel reborn. But if you're in Asia, then you can go like every day, every other day. For a period, like 3 weeks, you need to cleanse, do some fasting. We know how to fast. Often our back hurts because our gut, our intestines, we're full of, colonics, enema, colon cleansing, drinking salt water, flush, anything. We got to do it. You got to do it. I like to tell the story that this was like 20 years ago, something, and I was skinnier than I am now, real skinny, eating like vegan food since I was little, and I was doing a 7-day fast on apples, just apple fasting, and during that 7-day fast, I had 3 colonics. This is where you go to a facility and they just have endless water that's flowing in and you're just emptying out your bowels, right? I had done that 3 times already, 3 times in that 7-day fast. It was day 7 of my fast, and I went for my 4th colonic, and the amount of shit that was coming out of me, you can't even believe it. So that just goes to show that everyone's just totally a big pile of shit. We have so much, And so some kind of fasting and colonics, or using like Triphala or some kind of natural laxative to really, really, really flush your system. A lot of the tension in our face also comes because of the gut. Back pain. You know, today I saw Liani sitting on the wall, and I was like, oh, maybe we could set up cushions and some people could sit on the wall if they want. I've never allowed people to sit on the wall before. But sometimes people with injuries do, and it's useful because that can really help people in starting. So I don't know, maybe we have to do a thing and people can move over to the wall and sit with your back to the wall. That can help to train it first. But it's just you gotta just sit through it. That's part of it. The back pain is part of it. It's like, oh, back pain, and then you don't react. And then you just keep breathing, and then you center your attention, and then maybe it comes back. Okay, oh, that really hurts. Okay, you say, okay, wait, I'm just gonna take a step back. And again, you don't react, you don't move. You don't get into a trip. Oh, my back, it's always my back. Why? You don't think, oh, it's because of this. You don't think anything. Just take a step back, recenter, drop it. Even if it comes back 4 or 5 times, okay. Then drop it again. Then eventually it's like, okay, then you can gently move. You gotta move your body, slow movement, and again, be still. Focus on your breathing. Now, a lot of pain has to do with breathing. So slow down your breathing. Eventually, you learn to be in this state of non-reaction, no matter what's arising. Once you attain that, this is a real strength in your daily life. All this stuff carries over to the daily life. So this is the focus of, because it's never going to be comfortable. Life will never be comfortable. Right? Even the most comfortable position, only for a few minutes. Right? We're never comfortable. So what we need is to be stable. This is training to be stable. Once you're stable, you can be comfortable in the uncomfortableness. I usually sleep well at night, at home in hostels, but here I haven't slept well at all the last 2 nights. I keep waking up during the night and struggle to fall back asleep. Why do you think? Too many variables to know. I would need to know more details. Things are different. Sometimes, like I remember when I used to go on retreats, I had difficulty going to the toilet. It's like an intense moment where many things are happening, we're learning, doing many things, and then this can change our biorhythm. Sometimes also, when I go to India, when I go to Tiruvannamalai, when I go to sit with the masters, I barely sleep. I have so much energy, I'm just tapped in. So one thing is we're trying to sleep and I can't fall asleep because of negative thoughts or whatever. Another thing is I'm full of energy and actually I don't need to sleep. I should put that energy into something. Sometimes we get this grace, like me recently, I've just had this waves of energy coming, creative, and I'm not barely sleeping. So I think that there are times when you go to the holy places or where that you don't need to sleep. Less sleep is good. Unless it's a thing like a negative trip, a bad trip. Oh, my mind, oh, I'm worried, this and that. But if it's not a bad trip and you're vibing, then just use the time. Journal, read, lie in nature, meditate. Continue life. Life doesn't need to stop when it's dark out. This we were talking the other day. Many people are insomnia. Many people, they're just out of rhythm with themselves and with life. But if energy's coming at night, don't fight it. Ride the wave. Then when it's over, then sleep. But to be in that in-between, trying to force something that's not happening, no, this becomes a habit and a negative cycle. So when the energy's there, ride it. When the wave is there, ride it. Regardless of the time. You have to have things ready, what to do. You have some creativity things, some reading, some journaling. Go for a walk. Do something wild. Be adventure. Be wild. Better to be wild. We're too tame. We're too in the box. Last question. How do you trust yourself to make right decisions? Yeah. As I mentioned, because of this upbringing, many of us stop trusting our inner knowing from a young age because of this parents forcing to do things that it's not what we feel to do. But then we get the heavy negative feedback, and then there's I'll do what they say, and then we get the nice and so it's very deep, this idea of don't trust yourself, don't listen to yourself, you don't know. Everybody else knows. And that's definitely, obviously not true right now, you know that, but this programming comes from a very long time ago. And so we need to reconnect with that inner voice. And so what is the intuition? How does the intuition speak? It's not with words, right? It's not like weighing the pros and cons and making the lists and oh my God, which decision? It's not at all like that. No. Instead, it's like this. You're sitting and then someone over nearby is singing. Right? They're singing, it's very beautiful and it's in tune. How do you feel? You feel this like warm and you feel something expansive and good, right? The feeling. Now someone's sitting near you, they're singing out of tune and it's terrible sounding. Sounds really, ugh. Right? How do you feel inside? Right? There's an automatic feeling. I'm not talking about the thinking. There's a kind of contraction. Right? So this is it. Every moment you're having this expansion or contraction in relation to everything. Every word, every sight, every idea, everything. And so you have to watch that. In order to watch clearly, you have to be quiet. You can't be making lots of noise with your mind. You be quiet and then you see. And then deep down you have this feeling like, oh, like should I go there? And deep down you have this feeling like a yes, an inner yes. Yeah, so first thing is you have to be quiet and you have to listen. You listen not for words, but for a kind of feeling. This is a gut feeling, whatever they call. And it's like like a, this yes. Like when you come home and you just lie down and it's like a or it's like a, like no, you feel something, it's like, no. And so first thing is to listen and to hear it. Second thing is to learn to just accept and to trust it, even if it doesn't make sense. Right? And if you don't hear anything, you're asking you don't hear anything, then it's not time yet. You have to wait. You can't force anything. We always want to force. So if it's not time to pick the fruit, then you can't pick it. If the flower is not, you can't rip the flower out of the bud. You can't rip the flower out of the seed. So if it's not the time, it's not the time, then wait, be patient. Then when it's the time, then oh, yeah, that, okay. So first is to hear it. Second is to trust that. But you'll get opportunity from life, because if you don't trust it, then you're shown. You get kicked around again in the same way. Then the third is to act on it. Eventually it becomes just automatic, because you realize when you don't act on it, then you just get chewed up and spit out again and again. And so little by little, you just surrender. So it's a process of deep listening, trusting, and then acting. But we have this classroom, this training ground of life, and every day we get endless opportunities to try out our skills. Yeah, and then, it's like, how does a musician know what notes to play, or how does a sports player know which way to move? Because you're in the flow. You're in the flow. It's like whatever way you move is the right way, because then you adjust accordingly. There's no wrong decision. It's not like it was wrong. It's like, okay, if you want this one, it's wrong, then you just adapt and go a little that way or the other way, whatever. Because you're present, one thing flows to the next. It doesn't matter. You don't need a big freaking plan with 100 steps of how to act and what to do, everything. No, you're yourself in this moment, and that will flow into the next. Naturally, like a sports player, like a musician. And then if there are certain aspects of your game you have to work on, then you focus on those. Always, even the great players have certain parts of their game that's weak, that it's not as strong. So we're such stuck living in this false idealization and just torturing ourselves because we can't meet whatever false idealization that we've set or we've inherited from society or whatever. We have to completely shift the approach of self-identity and make it a creative process instead of this torture. Because in this model, whether you win or lose, you just torture yourself. It's never enough. So this is why we want to focus on aliveness, on the health, not on the illness. And if you want to help this world, then become a model of health in your life, in your relationships, in your work, in your house. It's not about telling other people what to do, but by living that deeply, by being real and authentic, then we give others permission to do the same, and we inspire them. I recommend a 100-day challenge. I think in 100 days you can train your mind. If you practice sincerely and you understand what I'm saying. Everything is a habit. You have to see if you continue the same habits of expecting and desire and thinking about the past and like this, then it's going to be the same. It needs a radical shift. We can't just like do the same thing and then go to yoga class once a week. Not going to work. Okay, enough words. Let's take a moment to be quiet, come back to center, drop all the words, forget everything. Forget all the last, 3 billion years. Forget it all at once. Not piece by piece. If you try to forget one piece at a time, you never get there. Forget everything, everywhere. Just for a moment, 1 second. In that split second of forgetting, if you have a one-pointed focus, then you're free. Inhale deeply. Oh.